Just a little quick video on preserving eggplant and some okra also I'm going to show you. So this is what I've done for the past couple years because, you know, eggplant is not shelf stable for sure. So what I do is I just cut them into little slices or medallions on the smaller ones, or slices. And then I go ahead and flour, egg, and breadcrumb. Now I am out of egg at the time, so I'm just using milk. Milk's a good substitute. After I do that, I'm just gonna lay them on a tray. And then I'm gonna stick this tray into the freezer to pre-freeze them. And I'll bring you back once that's done. So the second way that I'm gonna preserve the eggplant is I'm going to cut it up into like chunks. And you can do them whatever size you want. Again, I'm just gonna put them onto a cookie sheet. Now, preserving them this way is going to be for throwing into spaghetti sauces, and that's how I like to use them. So again, I'm just gonna cut them into chunks. Some people say that you need to blanch. I have not the last few years that I've done it like this. So just kind of cut them into chunks. I'm not the best at cutting them into equal pieces. My husband's much better at that, but you know, you do what you can. Again, so we're gonna cut these in chunks. We're gonna put them onto the cookie tray, and then we're gonna stick them in the freezer to pre-freeze them. Okay, so I have my okra all chopped up. I'm gonna take some, kind of toss it in the flour a little bit, shake it off, throw it in the milk or egg. You know, I prefer egg, but again, I'm out, so we're just gonna go with the whole milk thing. All right. Toss it in that. And here I have the breadcrumb. A lot of people do cornmeal. My preference is just breadcrumb. So again, that's just, you know, whatever you prefer. All right, I'm gonna toss it in the breadcrumb. And again, just like I did with the eggplant, spread it out on a cookie sheet to freeze. Of course, this isn't the only way to preserve okra. I just, this is one of the ways I do it. I also pickle it. So this is just so I can have fried okra in my air fryer anytime I want. All right, so I'm gonna finish up this bowl of okra, getting it prepared and getting it on the cookie sheet, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so I pulled the eggplant out of the freezer. They're nice and frozen. I can hear everybody hollering at me. Why did you pre-freeze, Lisa? Why did you pre-freeze? Okay, so the reason behind the whole thing of the pre-freezing on the cookie sheets is so that they're frozen, and then when you put them into your bags, they don't just end up being a, how do I explain it? Just a clump together, I guess you would say. So by pre-freezing everything, and I do this with everything that I freeze, from green beans or greens to, again, eggplant slices like this, it just helps it so when it's in the freezer, it's not gonna clump together. So these little eggplants, as I said before, I'm going to use to make eggplant parmesan. So this is a great way to preserve if you like eggplant parmesan or you like eggplant. Great way to preserve it. So I egged breadcrumbed it, put it on a cookie sheet, froze it, pulled it out of the freezer, put it into my little bag, and we'll get it in there maybe. Alright, so preserving eggplant for eggplant parmesan. There you go. Moving on to the chunked eggplant that I cut up and froze. So again, they were pre-frozen on the cookie sheet. Toss them into your food saver or Ziploc or however you freeze your food. I like to try and put them in about 1 cup portions. Preserving the eggplant this way, I use for putting in pasta sauces, and my daughter makes an awesome ratatouille pasta dish that is amazing that calls for eggplant. So another way to preserve your eggplant, again it's freezing, but for a different use, when you want it, you just pull it out. And these are little pint bags that are pre-made, which I found great for doing like 1 cup portions of green beans or, you know, any of the vegetables. So those are like really awesome. I really like these. And these are the generic ones, and I got a box of 100 for like $11 on Amazon. So pretty amazing. I like that. All right, so another way to do eggplant in chunks. And last but certainly not least is my okra that I prepped for the freezer to preserve it to make fried okra. So you saw earlier how I prepped it, and then again I just pre-freeze, pan freeze, I don't know what you want to call it, but I stick it on a cookie sheet, throw it into the freezer, whoopsie daisy. And so it's all nice and frozen, so when I seal it up and stick it in the freezer right away, it won't clump together. Now, hopefully you can hear me over that. My husband doesn't like okra, so these little packets I make right here for me are just perfect. And then if my daughter who likes okra is here, or my mom, then I can always just pull out 2. And you can fry the okra however you want. Of course, health-wise, we do an air fryer. And, I mean, it comes out amazing. It's so good. Alright, so I'm going to finish these up. Thanks for joining me today on this little brief video on preserving some eggplant and some okra a little differently. Hopefully it inspired you. Please subscribe, like. If you have any questions, drop them below. Thanks, y'all.